What's going on, everyone? I've got a very important video for you all today, going over probably the most important resource in the entire game at this current moment, especially if you're looking to progress pretty nicely into the mid game. And this is kind of interesting in that it's the most important resource for late game players, for early game players, and for mid game players. Since it's a relatively new resource, we are still all gathering it. And even if you're a brand new player, you still can use it relatively early on, like within your first month or so of playing the game. And so you absolutely need to be prioritizing it. What are we talking about? The Divine Weapon Cubes. Incredibly important. But let's start here with how we're getting them. Now, if you're a free-to-play player, and that's kind of what I'm targeting here, you only have one way. If you're a buy-to-play player or a pay-to-play player, you can purchase them. So, go for that because they're really good. But the martial arts tournament is where you're going to get all of your divine weapon cubes. There is going to be a shop in the martial arts tournament, and this is where you're going to find these divine weapon cubes. You can get 30 of them for 16,000 radars. So the ultimate goal is to find these radars. I will say, there are a lot of times we have extra radars sitting around. You can see this right here. I've already picked up my divine weapon cubes. The next time this event rolls around, I'll be able to pick another divine weapon cubes, and I'll still have more left over to buy other things from the shop. So it's not like only buy divine weapon cubes from this shop, but 100% you should be prioritizing them over every other resource in this shop, no matter what. Over the mounts, over your weapon boxes, over your cores. After you get to a certain point, which we'll talk about later, then you can come back and kind of prioritize some other resources. But you absolutely want to pick this every single time the shop resets, because you can only pick up one of them per issuance of the martial arts tournament. And when does the martial arts tournament come around? Well, they basically come around every week and a half. You can see this is the current schedule. This is the exhibition period. You have 9/10 till 9/19. So the martial arts tournament actually ended a couple of days ago. But you also have an elimination round. You have a qualifying round, and you have a finals round. So it's more like every 2 weeks you get a reset of this shop. So every 2 weeks you can pick up your divine weapon cubes. And so basically what that turns into is they're used for double S upgrades and other things. Every month you can get a double S. Because the way you acquire radars is in two ways. One, you can rank on the leaderboard. Now, let me tell you, this is incredibly difficult. As you can see on the qualifier, I am ranked 900. And this is with me legitimately using all 20 tickets over the course of 2 days at relatively solid times and being relatively careful with not losing anything. If you look at the rewards, my ranking would have put me in a place where I only get 3,500 radars, which is not much at all. So if we can't acquire radars from ranking, which clearly we cannot, how do we get them? Well, the main way is through betting. Now, if you look through here, after you go through the qualifying round, you're not going to be top 64 if you're free to play. It just is what it is. Then you're going to be able to do the predictions, and you want to be predicting every single time. Okay, with these predictions, you're going to go through and you're going to guess. I typically go just for the highest combat power if I see it. Sometimes I just take a brief overlook and bet really quickly. In this case, I probably should have gone for Flippy here, but, because it's the highest combat power. Unless you really know a lot about PvP and you can really dive into kind of each individual build and they're not hiding it, well, you're probably best bet is just to go over the highest combat power. But basically the way this works is you bet the 1,000 dice and you can get either 1.5 times the dice that you bet, which is in radars, or half the bet you place in dice as radar. So what this means, if I place 1,000 dice bet, if I win that grouping, I get 1,500 radars. If I lose it, I get 500 radars. Totally fine, even if you lose all of them, because you can get a potential 4,000, which is already more than my qualifier if I lose every single bet. Chances are, if you're betting by combat power, you'll win like half and half. So you'll get 1,500 times 4 plus 500 times 4, which puts you at total of 8,000, which is really solid, right? Very, very solid. 8,000 in that grouping. Then there's going to be the grand final. And the grand final, you'll place your bets as you go along. And you can see my predictions, which I actually got, I believe, all of my predictions correct in this, I think. I think I got all my predictions correct, but this also is in the finals guess. If you guess all the matchup, as you put more bets down, the amount of dice that's required is increased, but the more correct guesses, you're going to get massive rewards. If you're incorrect, you're going to get half the bet. So again, very, very, very important that you're able to place as many bets as possible. Now, when should I stop? Should I be betting as much as I possibly can? In my opinion, this is the second best way to use your gems in the game. If you look at the shop, there's actually a way to be able to pick up martial arts dice, and you can pick up 10,000, which is actually a lot, because not only can you get dice from there, but you can also get dice from doing the tasks, and you should be 100% doing all the tasks because they're very easy, very, very easy. You just use energy, you do arena battles, that type of stuff. So you want to pick up as many dice as possible. And actually, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be picking this up. This is 6,000 gems. You're going to want to be picking up as much dice as possible. The priority for gems at this stage in the iteration of the game is big adventure number 1, because Dragon Girl and progressing your adventures is extremely important. After that, martial arts shop. This not only gives you access to, you know, a value for your divine weapon cubes, which you absolutely need, but also, let's say you buy one of these. 600 gems gives you 1,000 dice. Let's say you fail on every single bet, which is not realistic, or let's more realistic. Let's say you fail half this. You spend 600 gems on 1,000 dice. If you're winning half of them and losing half of them, that breaks you even for every 600 gems you spent is 1,000 radars, which means 1,200 gems, you get 10 elite packs. That's an amazing conversion, for, if you expand that, you know, 6 times 600, which is 3,600. So 3,600 gems, you're getting an S Epic Legacy box. That's really worth it, right? Same goes for the weapon box and gear box, right? 3,600 gems. If I convert that and buy keys with that, which I can't see right now, but that is far more valuable in just buying up the straight up boxes than using the keys in a lot of cases. Now, the keys are going to give you other gear and stuff like that. So you absolutely want to be using your gems on this store and getting dice so that you can get access to more radars, so you can get access to more divine weapon cubes, period, no matter what, but then also all the other stuff in this shop. So then, after we've done all that, we've gotten our radars, we've made our bats, we've participated in the martial arts tournament. What are we actually doing with these divine weapon cubes? Now that we have a steady accumulation of them, you should be getting 30 every 2 weeks. Double S equipment. You want to prioritize first your weapon, second your rings, and at this current stage, your armor thirdly. Or I guess fourthly, since you have multiple rings, they're going to be able to be double S'd. It requires 60 divine weapon cubes for your weapon. We're not long enough in the game for everyone to be fully doubled S out if you're free to play. You can have potentially 1 double S as far as I know with the events taking place, and then you're close to getting 2. I missed out on one event to be able to pick up divine weapon cubes. Now that I've been able to prioritize all the betting and everything, I should be able to get another one, you know, in about a month from now, and that should be kind of the standard progression. First your weapon, then your rings, then your armor. The Judgment Ring double S is extremely powerful. The Dragon Ball ring that you can double S is extremely powerful. Reinhardt's Resolve is typically considered the best one, which is a double S version of the Revival Cloak. It is extremely important that you prioritize first getting the double S's themselves, and then after that, you can start getting the psychic or the psionic refinements. The psionic affixes, the psychic attributes, whatever you want to call it. They have a little bit of different names here. But then you can start spending cubes to start upgrading it. And the reason I say this is because a lot of the initial cubes, you're going to have to go through these levels of upgrading your psychic attributes. As you look, there's a lot of really powerful ones. But what you're really going to want to do is upgrade your level, similar to how you upgrade your pet build level or your pet summoning level. As you do more of it, this is going to be really important. And so you just have to do it a lot for you to actually get really usable affixes. So that's a lot of divine weapon cubes invested before you're actually starting to see really, really good returns. That's not to say that psionic refinement isn't good at all. It is still very good, period. But you're going to get more bang for your buck generally, because again, this is random stats that you'll be able to acquire from actually just getting the double S in the first place. So your number one priority is making sure you're placing as many bets as possible every single martial arts tournament, getting the divine weapon cubes every single time. Missing out even on one of them really does slow you down, because they're limited by like basically every 2 weeks you can pick up 30 cubes. That's it. You want to make sure you're getting it every single 2 weeks. So if you're getting every 2 weeks, boom, double S every 4 weeks. And then after you've gotten all your double S equipment, that's when you can start diving into the psionic refinement and start getting your psychic attributes all, upgraded. That's the goal. Do not use your divine weapon cubes and dump them all into your weapon. Don't do it. And the main reason is that's going to stall your other double S equipment for 2 more weeks. It is just going to be really important for you to prioritize getting the double S unlocks in the first place. And you really want to not miss out on this. This is the #1 most important resource in the game, and you don't even need to play PvP to do it, right? If you want to skip entirely the actual PvP portion of it, participate in battles definitely. As you can see here, if you martial arts qualifier battle, just do it 10 times. Great. Don't even need to win it. You're going to get your free dice, right? Times 5. So you'll get 2,500 dice. Great. Don't even need to do PvP. Don't need to qualify. Don't care about that. As you can see here, I actually tried and I only got ranked 900. It's not like it's going to make a huge difference. Just make sure you're placing those bets. And you can do that just from gem conversion. And I know 6,000 gems seems like a lot, but it's every 2 weeks. And then if you couple that with the big adventure, you should have plenty of time to accumulate as much gems to invest into both those events. You may not have as much nearly to, participate in the Ninja Turtle event, etc., but you'll just want to be sparingly using your gems on anything else to kind of accumulate a little bit of a stockpile for when truly important events happen. Just make sure you're very careful. And that's kind of the game plan. So hopefully that gives you kind of a little bit of insight into divine weapon cubes if you were kind of curious about them or didn't really know what was going on. It's not like it's an extremely difficult mechanic or resource to be using. It's just that it's a new one and people are still like, well, I'm not even sure. Like, are they really that important? Yes, they are incredibly important. I would, like I said, put them at the #1 spot. And the important part to note is this is not a late game, a mid game, and an early game thing. It's all ranges. Since it's a new resource, the mid-late game players are still having to upgrade their weapons to double S's. And if you're an early game player, you can do that as soon as you get a legendary piece of gear. You can now turn that legendary into a double S. So that happens within about your first month of playing the game. So as soon as you unlock that martial arts tournament, go for it. That's going to be incredibly important. Now, again, secondarily to the big adventure, because big adventure, getting your Dragon Girl and getting those adventures upgraded is still like #1 priority. That's a huge time gated resource, even more so than divine weapon cubes. So just keep that in mind. But yes, double S equipment, extremely important. Thanks so much, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about divine weapon cubes and where you're at in your progression, and I'll see you all for the next one.